welcome to another edition of Crib Zone. In today's edition, we'll be looking at how to change a tire for girls. Why would I do a video for girls? Easy. We actually went to Johannesburg last Sunday, and while I was driving, I suddenly had a flat tire. And then I realized, does your wife or your girlfriend even know how to change a tire? If she's going to drive all alone on a highway with the kids in the car and the car suddenly breaks down, what does she do? Is she going to sit there the whole day and wait for someone to come and help her? Is she going to phone someone who's far away to maybe come and assist her? Why? It's such an easy thing to do. And to be honest, all girls should know how to change a tire. So daddies, teach your girls how to do basic stuff, especially in emergencies. Although I will agree that nighttime is not a good time to do anything like that. Nighttime, rather sit in your car and wait for backup or call a breakdown because it's too dangerous, especially out on the highway. But if it's in the middle of the day, and changing a tire is going to take you like 5 minutes, then rather just change the tire and get going. So I've made a how-to video on how to change a tire. Being on the road and having done a couple of accidents before in my life, I just want to give you this clear tips. Number one, if you have a flat tire, do not hit the brakes. If you're on speed, just put your foot off the petrol or the accelerator and let the car slow down, put on your indicator and move off the road. Secondly, this being South Africa, on the highway we've got the yellow line, which is supposed to be your emergency lane. Don't even think about stopping there. The truck drivers or a truck will come and drive you into the ground. Rather move totally off the highway, off the line, into the field if you have to. Make sure you leave like 2 or 3 meter gap between the road and the field where you stop, to make sure that you can walk safely around. If you have safety equipment with you, use it. It's not going to change the tire or not change the tire if you don't have a reflective vest on, but for your own safety, use it. I hope you're going to enjoy this video. And I hope it's going to be instructive for you. And well, let's get to it. So there it is, the dreaded wheel, the thing you have to change before you can go further. So let's get to it. As you would see in the middle of the wheel, there's these 4 bolts. The 4 bolts connect your wheel to your hub. That's the 4 bolts you need to remove to be able to change your tire. Please note, not all the equipment that I'm about to show you is necessary to replace the tire. The safety equipment is there for your own protection. Remember, safety first. My suggestion to you would be, once you get your vehicle, take out your equipment, see how it works, test them out just for the fun of it. Before you get a real emergency and then you have to try and figure it out on scene, rather figure it out at the house, on your time, without any stress or any worries. Since this is South Africa, and some of our drivers are idiots, it's best to be seen. So the first piece of equipment that you can use or need is a reflective vest. Second on our list will be a pair of gloves, especially for those ladies with the long nails and cutex that doesn't want to get their hands dirty. Third up on the list will be a set of triangles that you can put in front and back of your vehicle. Then the most important piece of equipment that you're actually going to use is a jack. Your vehicle is equipped with a jack. It's always in the boot space with your spare wheel, along with your wheel spanner. So let's look at your wheel spanner. You'll notice on the one end there's a sharp end, and on the other end you've got your socket end. The sharp end you will use depending on what type of vehicle you're having. On this vehicle we have mag wheels, so you're not going to use it. But on the other cars with wheel caps and hubcaps, you're going to use the sharp edge to pry open the hubcap, which we'll demonstrate later. All you need to know or worry about now is the socket end that fits over your bolts of your wheel. Also, notice that the spanner is only a certain length. The reason for that is so that you don't over torque your bolts. So when you tighten your bolts, it will be at exactly the correct torque that it needs to be. So please, don't use a pipe or extension to loosen or to tighten the bolts on the wheel. You can stretch the threads and damage the bolts. Next up, let's look at the jack. You'll notice that the jack has got a groove. The groove fits underneath the vehicle in a specific place which I'll show you just now. Also, this jack is threaded with a handle. Now if you turn the handle clockwise, it's going to lift the jack up. If you turn it anti-clockwise, it's going to move the jack down. Really simple to use. Now here where I'm pointing, this is where you put your jack. You'll notice under your car, at the front or the back wheel, there's always this little space with a little indentation in it. Let's quickly get back to the wheel spanner. Here we have a wheel with a hubcap. Now, you remember the sharp end of the wheel spanner? You put it in between the rim and the hubcap, and then you pry the hubcap off. You can also try to use your hands, but for the girls, use the wheel spanner. Once the hubcap is off, you'll see the 4 bolts that you need to remove to get the wheel off the hub. Notice there's a little groove on your hubcap. That groove is there for your wheel valve. Always make sure that the valve aligns with the hole before you put the hubcap back. Otherwise the hubcap is not going to fit like it should, and you're going to damage the valve as well. Once it aligns up, just use your fist. Okay, so you've got all your equipment, you've got everything on, everything's ready. Now let's change this tire. I'm going to show you it so quickly and so easily. First of all, your placement of your jack is very important. Make sure it's on solid ground. If the ground is too soft and not solid enough, the weight of the vehicle might push the jack into the ground. And if that happens, you might not have enough clearance to get your wheel off the ground. So make sure that you put it on a solid piece of ground and make sure it's flat and stable. What you can also do with the jack is start lifting it up before you put it underneath the vehicle, so you don't spend too much time jacking it up. Once it's close enough, you put it in under the vehicle and then you just turn it a few times to lock it up. Once the jack is securely on the floor and on the vehicle, so that you can't move the jack, take the wheel spanner then and proceed to loosen the bolts. Now some of you girls are not heavy enough to actually stand on top of the wheel spanner, and I will also not even recommend standing on the wheel spanner. You can slip and injure yourself. It is better to pull on the wheel spanner. You actually have surprisingly more strength because you can pull with your whole body, your arms, your shoulders, everything you can pull, and you will be able to loosen that bolt. Once all 4 bolts are loose, now you can start jacking up the vehicle. You turn the handle and you jack up the vehicle until your back wheel is off the ground. You must be able to move the wheel freely by hand, and there must be a few centimeters of clearance underneath your wheel and the road. Now that your wheel is off the ground, you can now proceed by taking your wheel spanner and removing all the bolts completely. At first the wheel might be stuck a bit on the hub, but that's due to a long time of wear and tear and heat and so on, so the wheel settles on the hub. So you might have to push and pull it a bit until it comes off. But please don't push and pull and kick and scream as so much or so bad that the whole car slips off the jack. That can also happen. What some guys like to do is once the wheel is off, they like to put the wheel underneath the car, and then that's the only reason for that is so that if the jack slips or if the car falls, the car will fall on top of the wheel rim. That will prevent the car from lying down totally onto the ground, and will make it easier for you to either get another jack or see if you can replace your jack and lift the car up off the ground, because there will be a gap now between the ground and the car. So for this one simple reason, please don't put your hand in between the car and the wheel. The car falls is going to crush your hand or probably amputate it. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm making it sound so much worse than it actually is. I don't mean to scare you girls. I don't want you to go like, oh, I can't do this anymore because I'm going to amputate my hand. That's not the point of the whole thing. It's not so bad as it make it out to be. Sorry. All you need to do now is reverse the whole steps. In other words, put your brand new wheel on, line up the holes, insert your bolts, and tighten them down. Once you have the first bolt lined up, take your wheel spanner and then just tighten it down until it's flush against the hub. Don't tighten it fully yet. Just turn the spanner until the wheel stops. Once that's done, you can insert the other 3 bolts and do exactly the same. All that's left to do now is lower the jack. Anti-clockwise, lowers the jack until the jack is freely loose under the vehicle. Then you remove the jack from your vehicle. Now you can be the Hulk. Put your wheel spanner on top of your bolts and tighten it cross thread style. Not around, cross thread. Or cross tighten. And use all the weight you have. Push that baby into the ground, man. Push that baby into the ground. And remember, you can use all your weight. Thanks to the length of the wheel spanner, you won't damage the bolt, you can't break the bolts, and you know it will be tight enough. And voila, you're done. Your wheel has been changed. You can get back into your car and you can continue traveling on your way. Well, there you have it. Hopefully all you girls can go and practice now, changing tires, and show your dads you know what to do. And the next time you have an emergency like a flat wheel, go out and change it and get going. Your kids might be hungry. See you next time. Cheers.